Delighted to see that, just like the students, you're all hiding at the back. But it's brilliant to see so many of you here, and we've got families coming down from London, and a family over from Geneva, and then we've got lots more local families, which is wonderful. And we're just so pleased to have you all back on site. Please can I remind you, adults, if you could wear a mask in here, we would appreciate that. Bearing in mind you don't spend that much time with each other outside of this particular place. For those of you that haven't met me yet, I'm Will Tutor, I'm the head. I started in January. I'm an old boy of this school and I'm passionate about it. We're here to tell you a little bit more, if we can, and I suspect it's difficult, than your guides have told you already, because they're not only our best ambassadors, but they do know everything generally. So I'm sure you've got the key information out there, and I know that you would have looked at our website, and of course you've got your packs as well from Mrs. Baker, the registrar. So we will give you a little bit more information. If there are any questions afterwards, then a number of my senior leadership colleagues and I will be up in the dining hall to field those, but don't feel that you have to stay around and ask those if you don't want to. So we'll start, and I think the main thing I want to stress is that Cranbrook is a special school. I think you'll have seen that today. The weather's helped, of course, but it's very special, you're right. So I think the thing that sets us apart is that we're virtually unique in that we're a selected grammar school that's in Kent, but it's not really like any other grammar school because we are not only co-ed, but we're relatively small, which gives you a really, really lovely sense of community. And we've got a decent section of boarders as well. So about a third of our school is boarding, and that adds to that community spirit because they're with us all the time. So they're, if you like, the beating heart of the school. We've got 75 acres of green space, amazing facilities, and of course we're 500 years old, so we should hopefully know what we're doing by now. Our mission, our vision and values are really clear. Our mission is basically to provide that sense of community, but the important thing I think is that we set great store by academic results, but they are not everything. So my view, as always, is that academic results open doors for children, but the character that they develop in the other areas of their life will dictate how confidently they can take the opportunities on the other side of that door. So yes, academic results are important, but educating the whole child is important as well. And part of that is outstanding pastoral care and co-curricular opportunities, more of which you'll hear later. Our vision is really about cultivating that community. So whether you're at school now, or whether you've left school, whether you're a current parent or an ex-parent, whether you live in the town, we want to embrace you all, and we want to make a real difference to our local community as well. We are a very diverse community here for loads and loads of reasons, and we celebrate that every day. And we want to make sure that we are allowing as much access to students from different backgrounds, be it locally, nationally, internationally, as we possibly can. Our values are very simple. Respect plus aspire, I think, means achieve. Achievement for us is not simply about those academic results, but about children realising their potential, growing proud of themselves and strong, and then able to face the challenges that they will meet inevitably as they leave the school. But respect is not simply about respecting other people, it's about respecting their work, respecting themselves, and respecting the school, of course, and their families. And aspiration is simply about having high expectations of themselves and setting themselves high standards and striving to meet them. You may have read our Ofsted reports if you had a spare 2 hours. But our last Ofsted inspection was 2015. We were rated outstanding there, and the bit that I particularly like from that report is that that bottom point there, that we actively promote the ethos of valuing students. Our last boarding Ofsted report was in 2018. I'm now going to hand you over to Alex Cruz, who's our Assistant Head Curriculum Assessment, and he'll talk to you about our academic offer here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alex Cruz. I love this school, which is why I've been here quite some time, and it's really fantastic so many of you have taken time from your own schools to come and have a look around. As Mr. Tutor said, I'm in charge of ensuring that our curriculum meets the needs of the community and it is true to the values that Mr. Tutor set out at the start there. Every year we challenge our staff and students to grow, and I think that feeds into our dynamic and evolving curriculum that is split very clearly into 3 key stages. Each one has its own base, unique area in the school where students can go to and feel they have their own personal space. But we also utilise the specialist classrooms that I hope you had a chance to look around today, so that from the very beginning, students are getting to go to the science classrooms and the maths and English classrooms and get a feel for the whole school. Starting with our Key Stage 3, I think we're really unique, partly down to circumstance, but also something that we found is really special is that we will always have quite a small intake into Year 9 because of our boarding facility, which allows us to do a number of things. Firstly, to really focus on building learning power and embedding people into school. We have an excellent head of Key Stage 3, Ms. Rods, who really takes time to get to know every student. We focus on building confidence, but the main thing is we can ensure that every student has access to a real breadth of subjects with a focus on fun and enjoyment for learning. As they go through into Key Stage 4, which may start to seem a little bit further away, all our students will do the English Baccalaureate, which is both the English and maths, either all 3 sciences or a combined science. They'll do a language, and they'll pick either geography or history, or both, and then they'll pick one of our option subjects to make 10 GCSEs. And by this stage, they've got used to the GCSE gradings in Key Stage 3, and they're fully ready for the 2-year GCSE program in Year 10 and Year 11. By the time they finish their GCSEs, they move into their sixth form, and here we have quite a diverse range of academic subjects. I think we're quite proud that despite being a small school, we still offer a good range of subjects. The majority of students will pick 3 A-levels to study, and that is definitely the preference of the universities, is 3 good grades, and a minority of students who are really keen on academic study will select a 4th. I think one of the sad things about today that you may not have seen from the open evening on Wednesday is the amount that sixth form give back. And one thing we do is, because of all the nurturing and support and enrichment and scholarship programs we have in Key Stage 3 and 4, by the time students reach the sixth form, they're really, really keen to lead, take up roles as prefects or subject prefects and give back. And on Wednesday night, we had a number of sixth form running experiments and demonstrations in classrooms. But we see that every day with them looking to take leadership roles within the school in their final 2 years and promote lots of clubs and activities for the students. Additional education needs, our SEN department, often something that can be overlooked when you're looking at grammar schools, but we are really proud. We've invested hugely in our SEN department, which is a really fantastic attribute we have. I think it's because what we realise is that the tips and skills and training we receive from the SEN department helps our teachers to deliver lessons that are really accessible to all. It also means that we can have additional staff in the classrooms to help and support all our students if they need a little bit of extra support. And then on to our outcomes and our grades. I'm sure you're aware the last 2 years there has been a lot of disruption with exams being cancelled. A couple of things I'd like to point out is, firstly, the value added score, which looks at the progress students are expected to make from when they join us to when they leave. And one thing we always aim for is to have a higher than benchmark value added. So 0 would mean that they're making the expected progress that students are making nationally. And you'll see both at Key Stage 4 and 5, we're very proud that we always add a little bit extra, or their grades a little bit further along than where they might be in other schools. And that's down to the excellent hard work of teachers, but more importantly students and their families as well. We're still part of ensuring students are able to achieve. If we look at our headlines, as I say, back in 2009 when national tables were produced, we always do very favourably compared to our like-for-like schools, local mixed grammar schools and boarding schools. Our English and maths results are very good, but I think it's the bottom one that I'm most proud of, and that's in the last 2 years, all our GCSE and A-level students have come out of this school with the grades that they need for the next chapter in their lives, whether that's progressing to their preferred A-level choices or whether it's looking at university. And I think that's the core thing. They are all on unique journeys, and it's not just an exam factory, but it's making sure students are doing as well as they possibly can, and that they have the doors open for them for the next stage of their lives. And now I'd like to pass on to Smart.
Thank you very much. Good morning, I'm Mandy Smart, I'm Deputy Head at Cranbrook School. My job predominantly is pastoral care, and across the school we really realise how much the pastoral care supports the academic learning of our students. So with that support, that nurturing of our students, we can help them through the academic success that they're making. There's a lot of people involved in the pastoral care of your children when they join us. First person you're going to be meeting on a daily basis, each child would be their tutor. So that would be your first person that you're going to be going to, the person you're really going to get to know. You're going to know them every day when you turn up in registration, and that's your first port of call should you have any concerns, or should your student have questions, your child have questions. Supported by the head of house, and I'll go on to the houses in a moment, but there's quite a big team of us who are going to be backing up those staff who are supporting your children on a daily basis. Some of the particular ones are the peer listeners. We train up our sixth form students as they go through year 12, and they will be trained for peer listening. We found it's quite a good option for our young people to have somebody else, not a member of staff, they're not a parent, they're somebody that they are quite happy to talk to. We have an online service so students can send online messages to them and make contact with them should they need to pursue any areas that they'd like to talk about. So a really good sort of break in between any adults in the school as well as students. We have Place to Be in School. It's a national agency who provides support in school with some counselling and also support and training for staff. So we have a school project manager who's here full time. We have a part-time school project manager who's starting shortly, and they will support the counsellors who will come in. We do some group work with our students. There's some one-to-one counselling that happens, and as I said, some of the support that they put in place for staff when we have questions about perhaps the best way of being able to support students in school. So there's quite a range of those people available. Being a boarding school, we're lucky to have a med centre. So our med centre predominantly there for our boarding students, but that means we can benefit from that for the day students as well. So we have a team of nurses who are here on a daily basis. So there's a lot of people who are going to be supporting your child's pastoral care, which is going to be helping towards their academic. So the houses. We have a very big tradition of the houses in Cranbrook School. Our day houses are mixed. So Alan, Horsley, Links and Webster are our day houses for year 9s to 13. Cellars is the houses for those year 7s of you who would be interested. And I'll introduce Mrs. Ratz in a moment, who's head of year 7, as head of Cellars with the 7s and 8s, as well as head of Key Stage 3. So year 9 students would go into each of those houses, Alan, Horsley, Links and Webster. And then you can see our boarding houses on the side there. Our boarding houses are single-sex houses, and we'll be explaining about the boarding side in a moment. So there's, as I said, a lot of tradition that goes along with those houses. There really is a sense of belonging for the community aspect that comes from those houses that we have, and I know our students will be talking about some of that as well. The competitive action that we build between the houses so that we can get those sports activities, the cultural activities that are going on as well to build that competition. And the real bit that comes out in the end is just the fun that they have being part of those houses. So quite a big part of their schooling here. I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Ratz. So as I said, she's head of Key Stage 3, and she's also head of Sellers House, and that's where our year 7 students will be going into.
Thank you very much. Hello, I'm Rose Ratz. So yes, I'm head of Key Stage 3, which means that when students join the school in year 7 and in year 9, they come to me. So I'm in charge of their induction and their transition into Cranbrook, and making sure they settle well and making sure that they then make brilliant progress and are happy. We do some wonderful stuff in year 7, 8 and 9, and I just want to share with you something that happened yesterday. I went back into my classroom after lunch, and in my classroom were a group of 15 year 7s. Now bearing in mind they've been in the school for 2.5 weeks at this point. They had set up a club. It was a Beyblade club. I have genuinely no idea what Beyblade is, but they had set it up. They had gone through the clubs committee. They had got themselves onto the Clubs and Societies list. They had got themselves a member of staff to be the official backer of that group. And there they were at lunchtime, 15 of them, playing Beyblade. Who knows what that is, but that's what they were doing. And they had done it all by themselves. And that is what we can do, and that's what we love about our students. They are self-motivated, and if they have an interest, even if we've never heard of it, they can pursue it, and we support them in doing it, and they have all of the skills and the confidence to get on and enjoy themselves to their fullest potential at school. So it made me very, very happy, and also made me think that maybe I should find out what Beyblade is and just get involved. I'm going to introduce you to two of our year 8s. So we've got Xander and Imogen who are going to come up and have a chat. And what I did sort of 3 days ago was I said to the year 8s, would anyone like to come and talk to the prospective parents about their time at Cranbrook? And I was a bit overwhelmed with how many people said yes. So these two were the lucky ones who got chosen. And what they've done is they've had a bit of time to think and write about their time at Cranbrook so far and what they'd like to share with you. So you've got Xander Green over there, and then you've got Imogen Bell here.
Hi, my name is Xander and I'm year 8. My old primary school was Scouts at St Kilda Primary, where I'd already made a couple of friends, but I still felt nervous coming into Cranbrook as I didn't know if I'd make any more friends. But after the first day, I've already made 6 friends. My favourite subjects are chemistry, computing, physics, maths, PE and food development. The teachers are really nice here and always give you a chance to learn more. And if you don't get something, they'll always give you multiple chances to learn more.
Hello, my name is Imogen, and I'm in year 8. My previous school was Hawkers Church of England Times. At my previous school, I made friends with Isabel and Annabelle, who are coming to Cranbrook with me. Although I have made friends with them, I still felt nervous around other people and if I make friends with them. After a few weeks, I made friends with some very kind people.
The sport here is also amazing. We get double games on Fridays and PE throughout the week. In the autumn, boys play rugby and girls play hockey. In the spring, boys play hockey and girls play netball. And finally, in the summer, there's athletics, tennis, cricket, rounders and swimming.
When I first came to Cranbrook School, one of my main worries was, how am I going to work my way around the school, and what happens if I'm late? Well, the answer is some of my first worries. You'll find it tough at first to find your way around the school. It took me a whole week to work it out. If you're finding it very tough, you can always ask the other students or teachers. And my other one, whoops, if you're late. If you are late to the lessons, the teachers won't mind and are always very understanding.
The lunches at Cranbrook are amazing. When I first heard about them, I wanted to come to Cranbrook. But when I tasted them, I was happy that I was at Cranbrook, because they were even better than I thought.
My favourite and most happy moment last year was when I made a dish. I was overjoyed when it came out of the oven and my teacher said I did really well. We also have prefects called Chinooda and Carl who come to see us every week at tutor time. They always do something really fun. They play games like Splatter Wing Murder every week, which is great fun.
I think the best thing about Cranbrook are the practicals and all the subjects, as they are really fun and everyone gets involved and has a good time.
I think the best thing about Cranbrook is the clubs, as there is a wide range of different clubs. My favourite club is Netball Club because I really enjoy sports.
Thank you very much. We always say that our students are our best ambassadors, and I think they've explained quite a few things that I'm just going to mention very briefly here. So we're quite proud of our co-curricular in school, and you've heard the kind of activities that we have around school. Really big built-up co-curriculum that does really get led by our students, either our sixth formers who want to run those clubs or other students who quite fancy setting something up and need some support in doing that. Xander brilliantly mentioned the sport that we have across the school and giving you an outline of what happens in each term. We also have the team games that are going to happen on Saturdays, and most of the students have that opportunity to take part in those team games on Saturdays. So our matches that will happen with our other local schools, and that's a really big part of the sport aspect that we've got in place there. And it's all about developing those skills and that understanding of the games that they can experience. Drama is huge here, and you're lucky enough to hear Alice in a moment, who's going to mention some of the bits there of our drama. We have a drama club for years 7 to 11, so a good opportunity for them to get involved in a club that goes on outside lesson time. We do some masterclass workshops with the sixth form, and that's a brilliant opportunity for them to just stretch their drama skills and to stretch their ideas and developments going on. And next week we have our GCSE devised performances that are coming up, so we'll be looking forward to seeing those. We had our A-level ones this week. We have previously put on a whole host of different productions. Again, I know Alice is going to tell you some of those, but I'm really looking forward to the Grease production that we're putting on this year, and we're just so happy to be back in the position of being able to put those online. We have a dancing competition each year. It's exactly as it sounds. It's dancing and singing. And the talent that comes from our students is really quite amazing. I've been in quite a few different schools, and I'm still stunned when I see the talent that comes from our students. So a really good entertaining evening. We've had to extend the repetition of that evening because we have so many visitors that come along to that. Kind of links nicely into the music that we have. We try and hit all the kind of areas for music really with the range of concerts that we put in place. So we have a newcomers concert for those students who are new to the school. We're just getting used to the kind of talents that they have. There's the ensemble, we have the string quartet, we have the singing groups for junior and senior. We've got the jazz bands that we have in place. We like to get them to perform at most of our activities, outside activities that we have in school. And we have somebody from our music department who will be singing or playing or performing in each of our assemblies that we have. The really fun one that everyone gets involved in is the house shout, and it really is exactly that. It's for us a shout. Each of the members from the house will get up and perform a song, and it's a very entertaining competition with everyone getting involved. I'm going to hand over for our combined cadet force because you probably noticed Mr. Swinburne in his uniform. So I'm going to hand over to him to explain to you about the combined cadet force and our DFE.
Thank you very much. I've just made a quick change. And somebody caught me polishing my boots a few minutes ago. Because we're out this afternoon and overnight with the CCF, we have a very active contingent. We've got an Army section, an RAF section, about 140, 150 students in it from year 9 up to year 13. And it's not just a boys' club, it's not just Army's Army, it's about fun, it's about teamwork, leadership, and also getting out and doing lots of good activities, adventure training, camping, as well as the military things. But it's a great organisation that's been a part of the CCF, part of the school for well over 100 years. We are one of the oldest contingents. And we also have Duke of Edinburgh here, which is, again, very, very popular. It's a fantastic award. It dovetails with the CCF quite nicely. We have over 400 here now signed up to the Duke of Edinburgh, bronze, silver, gold level. You might see them like this wandering around in the summer because we have to process all the expeditions, the bronze ones. Each year we have over 100 year 9s achieving their bronze award. And this is last year on a slightly damp day. This evening we would be very lucky. But they love it. They love getting out on the expeditions, doing the physical, the activities, and the volunteering as well. So it's a great part of our school. As are all the clubs and societies. And coming on to the sixth form, which I head up, we may seem a long, long way from where you are at the moment, but of course time will go. But we see our sixth form as not a separate entity in the school. It's part of our school community. And it's a journey from year 7 or 9 to year 13. And we aim to produce students with the best grades that they can possibly get, and also be well-rounded young people who can go out into society in confidence. So we have an ethos in the sixth form. In year 12, it's about joining in, engaging with, and contributing to becoming part of this community as young adults. And then in year 13, to take responsibility to serve others and to take leadership responsibilities. Last night here, this hall was packed. We had downstairs, upstairs, 300 or 400. We had all year 7 and 8 and their parents, all year 9s and their parents, to launch the clubs and societies and activities for this year, which was a good occasion coming out of the last year and a half of COVID. And we had year 13s who head up many of these clubs and societies, and we encourage them to do so. So they were at the front here speaking about their clubs and societies, and we had presentations about lots of other things. And there was a great buzz, because Cranbrook is about that. It's about the sixth form being part of the community with the younger students, leading as well. And even next week, we've got 800 students out doing our charity walk. We're walking from Scotland back to here, big whole school event. And the year 13s really helped run the event. Without them, we couldn't do it. So I'm trying to give you a flavour of what the school's about. It is about good exam grades, but it's more than that. We have a Cranbrook diploma in the sixth form, where we encourage them all to aspire to achieve it, and to do that they will need to undertake work experience, volunteering, take part in activities, get their A-levels, do a research project, an EPQ, which is an extended research project, or their own one to link to their university applications. And we offer lots of vocational opportunities as well. The sports leadership, at the moment the Year 12s are signing up for these now. Sports Leadership Award, finance courses, first aid, life saving in the summer, student listeners you heard about earlier, mentoring schemes. So it's more than just those grades. But of course they move on. And our job is to make sure they can move on and do the best they can. So in Year 13 at the moment, we're spending a lot of time preparing their applications for university. At the moment it's the Oxbridge Medics, Dentistry and Veterinary applications. And as you can see here, the vast majority of them get to their first choices, get to places they want, and it's probably one of the best things about the school when you see them go on with happy faces and a happy experience at Cranbrook School of where they want to be. I'm going to pass on now to Mrs. Burnett. Thank you very much.
My name's Kirsty Burnett and I'm the Director of Boarding. So I'm just going to briefly talk to you about boarding at Cranbrook. We have 6 boarding houses, 2 girls' houses, a junior boys' house and 3 senior boys' houses. And these are the houses dotted around the campus, all very unique in terms of their layout, but all with the same ethos, which is basically to make sure that boarders at Cranbrook have a successful and enjoyable time. Why board at Cranbrook? Well, there are lots and lots of different reasons to board at Cranbrook. One is that we have much smaller tutor group sizes, so the academic tutor knows your sons and daughters really well because the maximum is about 11. And you tend to have the same tutor throughout your time in your boarding houses, so it means by the time they get to Year 13, those relationships are really strong. We have an on-site medical centre, so we have the support of our nurses should we need them during the course of the week. The bottom one, outstanding value for money, obviously very important, particularly at the moment with how things have been with the pandemic. But if you haven't had a chance to see any parts of the school, particularly boarding, I would highly recommend it. There are lots of places available in boarding. We have 18 spaces in Year 9 for girls and 32 for boys. We do have some intake in Year 10 and sometimes in Year 12. So if you've never thought of boarding, it is something I would highly recommend. I know I'm the director of boarding, but I was never a boarder myself. I came to Cranbrook, it was a bit eye-opening because I came from Cornwall, from just a comprehensive school, and I thought it was a crazy place because it was just amazing, the opportunities that are out there. And actually boarders actually benefit from that. We have a weekend programme which is very diverse, and at the start of September we have a 2-week induction which we've just finished. So we've had people, houses going to escape rooms, crazy golf, paintballing, chocolate making, all sorts of different things as a way of building that house spirit as well as helping settle individuals into the school, because it's quite daunting arriving as a new boarder, particularly if you're international. But joining any school as a newbie is quite a challenge. So these are all sorts of activities that we do. And the programme starts in September, and there's something on every weekend all the way through the year. So I'm now going to pass you back to Mr. Cheeser.
All of my colleagues here have referenced the kind of characters that we build here at Cranbrook through pretty much everything that we do, both in and out of the classroom. And I think there is just some key characteristics that we value developing in our children. I think number one, the importance of service to the community, whichever community you're in. So understanding that you're not at the centre of the world and that you have a responsibility to make a difference to other people's lives. That's very important to us. Secondly, the ability to adapt and be resilient. I think you will have seen this with your own children through the pandemic, but the children at school here have done an amazing job of responding to that very, very strange and stressful situation and have come back stronger as a result of it, ironically. Although, of course, there are many that we are concerned about. So that ability to roll with the punches of life and not see obstacles as major setbacks, but as things to work around, work through, and carry on. And then finally, curiosity. So whether it's in the classroom, outside the classroom, whether it's with friends, in their relationships, but being curious about the world is very, very important, and that's something that we seek to engender whatever we're doing. You don't need to hear that from me though, because I've got two much better people to explain what their experience at school has been like. And you're now going to meet our two school captains, who are Alice and Corinne. You've got your own slide. Alice and Corinne have been very busy this week talking to prospective parents, current parents, about all the things we do at school, but they are wonderful examples of the kind of student that ends up emerging at the end of Cranbrook. So I'll give you the stage.
Thank you. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Alice, I'm in year 13 and I'm in Webster. And I just want to talk to you a little bit today about our house system and our pastoral system, and as Miss Smart mentioned, drama. Sorry if I'm reiterating what people have already said, but I just kind of want to give you a student perspective. So I've been here since year 9, and I've obviously been in Webster the whole time. And I am a little bit biased, but I really love Webster. But I think everyone from every single house will tell you the same thing about their own house. They all have such unique spirits, but really share that kind of competitive nature that really drives everyone. In Webster, we have an annual curry night, so we all go to an Indian restaurant together, which is really fun. We have cinema night, we sometimes go ice skating at Christmas. We have cake days, which is obviously really important with kids. But I think there's something that Cranbrook does so well, is that each house is such a team, and it all contributes to kind of the overall community that Cranbrook really cherishes. And I think, as Mr. Shooter was saying, learning that you're not the most important person in a room is something that the house spirit does really well, because I think in my tutor group we all work together and support each other and make brownies for each other, and it's just a really nice environment. Kind of linking on from that, something that Cranbrook does so brilliantly is the pastoral care. I speak from a lot of experience that the teachers and the staff and place to be and student listeners are so brilliant for your kids. And if you ever have any worries, or you're nervous, or you're stressed, genuinely every single person at Cranbrook will care about you and will want to help and listen. And the number of times I've just gone to a teacher and gone, I'm really stressed about my work, and they've just calmed me down and given me biscuits. A lot of this is coming back to food, but Xander said the food is great, and it totally is, so believe me on that one. But no, the pastoral support here is wonderful. And then just finally, as Miss Smart said, I don't want to reiterate too much, but the performing arts here is incredible. It's by no means the only thing that Cranbrook does, but if you're like me and you're a total lovey and you just want to be on the boards the whole time, then that is definitely something that Cranbrook can help nurture. On Tuesday this week, I have my A-level devised performance, which Mr. Shooter very kindly came to watch, and I think I shocked him a little bit with the content, but that's fine. We also have done so many productions here, so in my time I've done Pride and Prejudice and Blood Brothers and Grease is later this year, Hairspray, and a play called DNA as well. So there are so many different opportunities for you to get involved in. But even if you want to be theatrical, you don't necessarily want to be on stage, we also have a total plethora of different opportunities. So we've got tech crew or stage manager roles, we've got front of house things, stage design for our productions. There really is kind of anything that you want to do. And just very quickly before I hand over to Corriday, my favourite thing about Cranbrook is firstly the relationships between student and staff, but I think what that leads to is, especially in the sixth form, if there's anything that you want from the school, the staff will help you to make it. So Corriday and I last year, we both set up societies, and the staff were amazing, and they were so encouraging. And now we've got cool little clubs that run. And like Mrs. Ratz was saying about, what was it?
Beyblade.
Beyblade.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I don't know what that is, but I love it. And Cranbrook does that so well, and it just really looks after their students and lets them kind of hero whatever they want to hero. So thank you very much for listening to me. I will pass you over to Corriday now.
So, morning everyone, I'm Coronary and I'm in year 13 as well, Alice. I started in year 9 and I went to Blueberry, which is one of the girl boarding houses. And roughly a few years ago I was making this decision with my parents as well, and I do have to say it's one of the best decisions I ever made. Obviously at first I was a bit scared coming to a boarding school that I probably didn't know anyone at. But when I did come, everything just was set in place and it felt right. The boarding house staff were amazing and made sure everyone felt like this was their second home, and they never felt bored, and that's something I do have to cherish. I've never not had fun in boarding, as cheesy as that sounds. But it just made sure everyone felt comfortable, and being in a house with that many girls could sometimes be a bit scary. But I have made amazing memories and friendships that I don't plan on forgetting or plan on losing any of my friendships as well. And I just think it's really important that when you do come, you just do have to get involved and have as much fun, and as much as you give out is the same you're going to get out of your experience in Cranbrook. And I also think it's really important that the staff support you in any way possible. Whether it's academically or just doing extracurriculars, they're always going to encourage you to do more. Not just the staff as well, but the sense of a community with the older girls in the boarding house and the younger girls as well. We try and make sure everyone feels that you can talk to anyone and there's no animosity, and you can all be a big house and all be sisters. So that's something that was really important for us, and I do feel like Cranbrook's given me that opportunity. Not only helping me in my academics, I also tried out many different sports, drama and music, and I do have to say singing was not my thing, but I did find out I was really good in netball. I had a netball tournament with a few other girls in year 13 earlier this week, and that went quite well. So it also made sure that you can find what is for you and what isn't, which is quite important. So not only do you grow academically, but you also grow as a person, and you found out how you can be more of yourself, and you get the support to do what you want and to flourish as a person, which I just think is important, because we do have to get ready for the real world sooner or later. So that is something I have loved about this school. I've never not felt like myself, and I think it's important when you are coming to a new school, you can be yourself as much as possible, which this school makes sure everyone feels like they can be themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. These two girls are doing an amazing job at leading this school, and they are wonderful role models. Thank you. This is the end. This is the really boring bit, but I think you will know this already, but just in terms of how we take students in, we have 60-day places at year 7 at the moment. The ambition is to grow to 90 to allow more students to come in then. I can't put a date on that, but I'm hoping that will be in the next few years. There are a few things to get through first. At year 9, we take 52 boarders, and there are 38 day places, and the test that we set is a CAT test that we set that internally. At year 12, we do take in a number of students as well, into boarding and day, depending on where the spaces are, and that's a GCSE tariff that you need to achieve there. And then, because we are a highly competitive school, and we're thankfully very popular, we do have these oversubscription criteria that apply, and it's chiefly about your score ranking and then where you live. Do you live in our priority area or not? Full details are on the website in the pack. Our lovely registrar, Andrea, and her assistant Joy will be next door in the dining hall to answer any questions related to that process, and a number of us will be too. If you'd like to join us, please do, but don't feel that you have to. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming, and if you've brought any crockery or glasses in, please would you mind taking them back. Thank you very much, we hope to see you soon.